I'm feeling very artisanal for this video, so I'm gonna use my mortar and pestle a couple times. And you know, this is great if your Valentine's Day just isn't going quite as planned. You can just take out a little frustration. Make a romantic vegan Valentine's Day dinner with this 3-course menu. Vegan scallops star with a decadent chocolate mousse dessert that's perfect to share. Hello, I'm Catherine. We've had a lovely time creating this special menu to inspire your Valentine's Day plans. It's a 3-course meal that looks and feels and tastes fancy, but it's quite easy to prepare. There's lots of mega head options, and it all costs us less than $20. For these beautiful vegan scallops, I'm using king oyster mushrooms. And these 3 organic king oyster mushrooms I found at my international grocery store for $2.99. But my local grocery store only has baby king oyster mushrooms, and they're $5.99. So if you can find these king oyster mushrooms, they're going to be the best because you'll get the biggest scallops. But size isn't everything, so if you can only find baby king oysters, they're going to be just as delicious. Slice off the top of the mushrooms and the pointy base. Reserve these for another recipe. Slice this nice stem into 2 or 3 or 4 scallops and gently score the top of each in a checkerboard pattern with the tip of your knife. You can skip straight to cooking these. Just put them on a pan with some oil, sprinkle them with salt and pepper, splash on some lemon juice, but if you can marinate them, then you'll be able to infuse them with more flavor. And I marinated these overnight, and you'll be able to see that they're pretty squishy and they have a much kind of fishier texture. So I'll show you what I did to marinate these. Combine 2 tablespoons lemon juice, half a teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon miso paste, and 2 teaspoons brine from a jar of capers. Whisk to dissolve the miso and pour the mixture over the mushrooms. Turn each mushroom in the marinade to coat both sides and rest them with the cut side down for at least 30 minutes, but preferably overnight. And if you're doing some prep the night before or a few hours before, then you can make this easy parsnip puree to spread under your scallops in advance and then just heat it up when you're ready to serve. Peel and slice half a pound of parsnips. I'm using 1 large and 1 tiny parsnip. In a small pot, heat 1 tablespoon vegan butter over medium heat and saute 1 clove of minced garlic for 1 to 2 minutes until fragrant. Add the thinly sliced parsnip, a 1/4 cup raw cashews, and 3/4 cup plant milk. Bring to a low boil, simmer with the lid on for 10 minutes, remove the lid, and simmer for an additional 5 minutes or until the parsnips are soft and the milk has reduced a little bit. Remove from the heat and puree until smooth. Now all that's left is to cook the scallops, but I decorate the dish with some of the ingredients I used for my orange persimmon salad: mixed baby greens, cooked golden quinoa, and candied walnuts. I cook the quinoa while I make the parsnip puree. Both of them take 15 minutes, and the candied walnuts are super easy. To quickly candy half a cup of raw walnuts, pile them on a prepared baking sheet, drizzle with 1 tablespoon maple syrup, toss the walnuts in the syrup to coat, and bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 to 8 minutes until they're lightly browned. Allow them to cool, and you have delicious candied walnuts that are ready to enjoy. I use a 1/4 cup of these in the salad and crush a few for the scallops. I'm going to zest an orange and make a quick salad dressing with the orange zest. I need a new zester. Or just a zester. That works. Are they called microplanes? Sponsor gods, if you can hear me, I need a zester or a microplane.
Dream big.
Yeah, that's all I want. Okay, yeah. You know how I always freeze my orange zest? This is why. It's coming in handy. I'm just gonna use my frozen orange zest. It might be a new zester, but that doesn't mean it works. You can't see what brand it is. Oh, maybe you can. I'll turn it over. Half a tablespoon balsamic vinegar, half a tablespoon maple syrup, and a pinch of salt and pepper. I'll slice up the orange by removing the peel and dividing the wedges, and I'll slice a persimmon. I usually make this salad with persimmons, but we're at the tail end of persimmon season, and this one is a little soft. It's just holding in there. So if you can't find these, then feel free to use any other sexy fruit, like some fresh figs. Everything for my salad is ready, and that means I can cook these vegan scallops and serve up this delicious meal. Heat half a tablespoon oil in a skillet. You can test to see if it's hot enough by dipping the back of your wooden spoon in the oil. If bubbles form around the spoon, your oil is ready to go. Remove the scallops from the marinade, and being careful of splashing oil, place the mushrooms on the pan. Sprinkle with salt and pepper and cook for 2 to 3 minutes on the first side. Flip when the mushrooms are nicely browned on the first side and cook, sprinkling again with salt and pepper on the other side for another 2 to 3 minutes. Now the scallops are nicely browned, it's time to really soften their centers. Lower the heat a bit and add 1 to 1.5 tablespoons vegan butter to the pan. Baste the scallops with that butter to encourage them to soak up that flavor. Cook for another 3 minutes or until the scallops are cooked through, and finish with a splash of lemon juice. Spread parsnip puree on your plate, top with some cooked quinoa, lay your beautiful scallops on top, and decorate with crushed candied walnuts and some tiny greens from your salad mix. I'm adding a bit of quick pickled red onion I always have on hand, and using the other half of that lemon for a decorative lemon twist. What do you think? Fancy but doable? Let me know how you're feeling in the comments below. And the orange persimmon walnut salad costs us less than $4. This whole scallop dish with all the components costs us between $7 and $10 depending on where we get our oyster mushrooms. And if we were to make this with sea scallops, the scallops alone would cost us between $5 and $15 depending on their size and freshness. So I think we're ready for dessert. We call this a chocolate mousse terrarium for two, inspired by a delicious chocolate and peanut butter dessert we shared at one of our favorite vegan restaurants in Toronto. This version has a decadent layer of chocolate avocado mousse on the bottom, a tart cherry sauce in the middle, and a toasted hazelnut and oat cookie crumble on top. Now, if you're thinking chocolate avocado mousse, I'm with you. I first tried this recipe making the chocolate mousse with coconut cream. I bought one of these big cans, made the chocolate mousse, and used the leftover cream from my 5-minute fluffiest whipped cream. And it was delicious. But I was like, I'll try an avocado mousse, but I know I'm not gonna like it. Turns out I liked it more than the coconut cream mousse. So if I were to choose them on their own, I'd absolutely choose the coconut cream mousse, but for some reason, mixed with everything else, the avocado wins. So if you're still like, no, not doing that, don't you worry. When you click the link below for the recipe, scroll to the bottom of the recipe card, and in the notes, I have the directions for how to make a chocolate mousse with coconut cream. I gotcha. Oh, and a fantastic thing about this recipe is that the whole thing can be made ahead and stored in your fridge until you're ready to serve it. And the chocolate mousse is actually best made in advance. So, I'll show you what to do. Add the flesh of 1 large avocado to a blender with 1/8 cup cocoa powder. Melt 1/8 cup vegan dark chocolate chips in the microwave with 1/8 cup plant milk. Melting the chocolate in the milk means I avoid having all the melted chocolate stick to the sides of my blender. Add in 2 tablespoons maple syrup, a 1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract, and a pinch of sea salt. Blend until smooth. Now this is the mousse that I made last night, and you can see the difference in texture pretty clearly. The fresher chocolate mousse is much more of a pudding texture, and then once it sits in the fridge, you get a really nice thick mousse. And now, cherries. Add 1 cup frozen cherries to a small pot and heat over medium heat. Dissolve half a teaspoon arrowroot or cornstarch in 2 tablespoons of water and add that to the pot, stirring right away. Bring to a low boil, reduce the heat to a simmer, and simmer until the cherries are warmed through, can be gently crushed with the back of your spoon, and the sauce has thickened. Drizzle in 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and finish with a splash of lemon juice. I'm bringing back the mortar and pestle. Allow the cherry sauce to cool. Make the cookie crumble. Toast just over a 1/4 cup hazelnuts in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 to 8 minutes until they are fragrant and lightly browned. Allow to cool enough so that you can remove these skins. Reserve a few toasted hazelnuts to garnish the top of the dessert and add the rest to a food processor or mortar and pestle. Crush a 1/4 cup toasted hazelnuts with a 1/4 cup oats, a pinch of sea salt, and 1 tablespoon cocoa powder. Drizzle in 1 tablespoon tablespoon maple syrup and stir until the mixture is moist. Let's eat this. Spread the chocolate avocado mousse in a serving plate. Top with cooled cherry sauce. Reserve just a bit of the sauce for a cherry drizzle. Add the toasted hazelnut cookie crumble and decorate. I'm using reserved hazelnuts, some dried goji berries, coconut whipped cream, and mint leaves. Drizzle your tiny bit of reserved cherry sauce on top for the finishing touch. Cool, right? This chocolate cherry terrarium for two is pretty decadent and costs us less than $6. Making a full batch of our coconut whipped cream costs us $2.45. You'll definitely have leftovers, but I'm sure you'll find a use for it. And if sharing your dessert doesn't sound like you, then you can absolutely make this as individual parfaits. Just layer all the different components and then top it with extra whipped cream. All right, you lovers, dreamers, romantics, these recipes are linked below for you, and please show Brian and I some love by hitting that subscribe button. We have a new video every Sunday at 5 p.m. for you, and turn on those notifications so that you can watch our show before that other big Super Bowl thing next Sunday. We're getting out the chips and making a 7-layer party dip. Toodaloo. As I eat my avocado chocolate mousse. And love it.